Hello, everybody. Welcome back as we're getting ready for our second matchup here on the evening, and the second time that we'll have a chance to watch Envy, but this time from the lower bracket. I'm Alan I hold shift on a Frio with me, Kevin Averill Walker. It's Envy and XSET in this lower round 2 matchup. One team will be eliminated here without really the chance of being able to fight for not just Masters, but even the closed qualifiers coming up for the second edition of it. They'll have to go back to the open qualifier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you do. You got to be top 4 in this event, which I believe Luminosity at this stage have confirmed. They should be clean in the top 4 now after getting into the upper final. This would be it. I think if you lose now, like you said, you're eliminated. But if you do win, you'd be in the final 4 teams. So if I'm not mistaken on that, this is where it really counts. If you win this one, you should be able to be in the final 4 teams. So it's a lot on the plate here. And XSET have kind of received the blueprint from Luminosity in terms of how to beat teams like Envy. We did say something similar about Ambox yesterday. Ambox yesterday, when we casted them versus Sentinels, I also said, look, Luminosity have shown how it's done. They've been that team that both Ambox and XSET have been looking towards now in terms of teams that, you know, not even that long ago, Luminosity was well within reach of XSET and Ambox. You would have all grouped these teams together and said, hey, here's like the kind of next group of teams. Here's that kind of technically tier 2, if you want to call it, kind of teams coming on through. And LG, after being both Sentinels and now Envy, have definitely taken a bit of a lead in that regard in terms of reputation. Ambox and XSET still catching up and still having to try and prove themselves.
Hey, well, you can get caught up as well here because there's not just things going on with the Nerd Street stream. You can get yourself ready to go with Nerd Street Plus, where you can save $25 or more on all NSG March Valorant tournaments with Nerd Street Plus. 50% discount on both our March monthly and March open qualifiers. Find out more information, please. Just go over nerdstreetgamers.com/plus. There's a lot more coming up. I mean, we've got the summer quals, the summer champs, rather, that's going to be doing in August, but those tournaments start in March, so make sure you're taking a look at it. If you're a routine member here on Nerd Street, you really have no reason to not go and at least give a gander, if not just completely no nonsense. Just dive right into Nerd Street Gamers Plus. So make sure you do that. But as we get ready to go for, again, this matchup, let's take a look back at our overall brackets to see how everything is kind of faring right now. Because, again, we got out of our upper semifinal, and with that in mind, we were all still kind of simultaneously broadcasting here as well as on NSG2 for what's going on in the other semifinals, where currently Immortals are up 1-0 over Gen G. Of course, as we just saw it, Luminosity take 2 separate 13-10s over Envy, so they will be awaiting the winner of that upper matchup right there to determine who their winner finalist matchups will be. But we got to go down to the lower bracket because this is where our coverage will continue and eventually conclude here on the day. We've got XSET playing up against Envy first, and of course, Sentinels are awaiting the lower matchup of whoever loses between Immortals and Gen G there, Averill.
And just to give a bit of an update in the Immortals matchup, so first of all, Chemicals is out at the moment. He's having some technical issues, so he's not actually currently playing in this matchup. You have Poise coming in as the sub for Immortals in that position, and they're still 1-up versus Gen G currently. You're talking about Immortals and why they're kind of relevant to this discussion is the fact that XSET have played Immortals twice this tournament, and both times XSET have kind of fallen down to Immortals. Now, where XSET have really succeeded is they were the team that knocked out TSM. So the reason why you don't get the TSMs in this tournament, whereas 100 Thieves and FaZe and all the rest, I mean, they've all been knocked out as TSM specifically lost to XSET. Now, 2 of those maps were streamed. XSET, yeah, they kind of got rolled on Icebox, which is why Icebox, I believe, has been banned away. That was XSET's ban, which we'll have a look at a little bit later on. But in terms of looking at the other map, which I believe, you know, Bind, they won. We didn't get to see the result out of that one. Bind ended up being a really good map for XSET, and XSET are a team now, look, if you can beat TSM, you have a lot of potential. That's like kind of early days. We start to see Luminosity. Yeah, they're beating teams like Sentinels now. XSET get to do that versus TSM. Now they're going to do it versus Envy. We just saw Envy on Bind nonetheless. And this has been a pretty good map for Envy. They've tried some different things out on Bind. We've seen crashes on Sky. We've seen crashes off Sky. Mummy, we've seen him on Jet. Now he's playing the Rays. Do you wonder what Envy are going to bring to bear? Are they going to be making any sort of changes in their sort of composition now that they've lost Bind to Luminosity, and now they have to play it against XSET as well?
I feel like you'd be hard-pressed to immediately make a gut check decision on, yeah, let's just go switch things up once more, but I think the question definitely has to be asked, right? I mean, this is an Envy team that we praise so heavily for their past recent results on Bind specifically, especially versus Luminosity, where they won 13-6, but they weren't able to really kind of showcase that dominance whatsoever. So as we get to look at what XSET has to offer on a map like Bind, again, they're no strangers here. They have seen a lot of it, and specifically in these closed qualifiers, because both times they've been here, it's gone to overtime both times. The first falling to Immortals and the second beating NRG. And then eventually, as we get over to Split, that's actually going to be a first look in the VCT for XSET overall on that map. And we know historically that Envy was one of the perennial best split teams early on. 13-6 overall record for them when they were playing in the Ignition Series era. And then during the first strike, they were still 6-3. So they're both very talented when it comes to what they've been able to showcase in the past versus what they very well may do here. So it's XSET's pick for bind, and then Envy will force XSET to go play on the split before we eventually maybe need to get back to Ascent for a third.
I got to tell you something here as well. The split was actually being played by XSET versus TSM. That was the map that sent TSM home. 15-13 into overtime is how XSET did it. It ended up being a pretty, it was one-sided both halves. It ended up being a 3-9 start where TSM started on 9 rounds on the initial defense, swap sides, XSET on the defense, then get 9 rounds as well, and TSM start to fall apart there. And then in the OT, is the 3-1 difference is how XSET was able to take it home at the end of the day. So that's actually going to be quite interesting because both Bind and Split are the 2 maps that we're going to be playing today, and both of those maps are the maps that XSET beat TSM on. So if there's going to be any sort of real victory here for XSET, playing these 2 maps early gives you a really good opportunity. Looking over towards compositions now, no change-ups from what we did see. Now, I did bring up that Envy could go back to an early composition. I only say that because there is the small chance that maybe they play, Crashies back on the server. Maybe they try, the Jet Mummy, the Mummy on the Rays, and they prefer it the other way around. There are possibilities, but they're going to stick to their guns. So are XSET, playing what they normally do. XSET changed nothing for their buy-in composition. This is what they've been playing the entire time, and what they're going to stick to for now.
Yeah, I think it would have been really difficult to just make a gut check call after playing a tight bind. Yeah, sure, it wasn't as cleanly as you would have hoped for, but to make a gut check call to say, let's just try a brand new composition with our tournament life on the line.
It's something they've done plenty of before. It would just be kind of like going back to something they've done before, but...
Yeah, I mean, kind of, right? I mean, the Breach that was only used once, it was versus Immortals, I don't know. I think it would be really hard-pressed to make that decision at this stage when you're fighting for that top 4 for sure. And again, you got to remember, we haven't really talked about this a lot, but there's still a lot of money up for grabs here as well when it comes down to what your replacement is in the main event. I mean, 20,000 for first, 10 for second, 7 for third, and 5 for fourth. So those top 4 places mean more than just the potential of getting into Masters and essentially locking in a spot for the second closed qualifiers. You're playing for a pretty healthy paycheck as well.
50K tournament, that's what people have to remember here. So no memes about seeding or anything else, and Comp 4 get their way into close qualifying number 2 to eventually make their way into Masters, as it's going to be XSET making their way onto A. Mummy trying to slow things down. He got taken away as it's now going to be a 5v4. Envy have to try and rotate as fast as they can, as XSET, looking at the situation, have actually exited. So despite Finesse making his way over towards A, XSET are gone.
A lot of damage was exchanged initially by the Page Shells, but it will largely be sustained. Thwifo still going to hold to make sure he can toss out some utility, maybe delay any defensive rotations, or just try to guard this teleporter rotation, as Crashies, as you mentioned, finds a lot of value with the Aldrone. He will also gain himself an ultimate orb, but XSET will rotate back to Thwifo, who's in a long-range 1v1, just holds the trigger, finds the kill. Dark cover will try to keep him safe, and how about one better? BCJ walks on forward, finds the kill. Finesse good for 1 trade, but it's going to be required to do more than that. A lot of damage on the entry, but will be pushed back outside of Lamps. Aaron here. Dark cover, going to be the only barrier between both players. The spike gets planted on the corner. Finesse will lock down another elimination. That's his second so far. Crashies trying to retake Lamps. Aaron there to try to challenge, has a little bit of help. This comes down to who peaks first and with what timing.
One enemy
BCJ only on 33 HP. Aaron has found Finesse, and Crashies will be taken down to essentially 1 bullet. 22 health for him to play with. The next set will force him to continue to make a play, which he tries to, but Pure from the backside of 8-mid will find the final kill.
Yeah, too many players alive there. Mummy going down early as well for the 5v4. And good info being found. You see Crashies with the Aldrone down B. Long spots 2 players. Forces XSET to once again have to rotate back on towards A. So Finesse spends most of that map just running between both sites without seeing a lot of action until the end. And great timing as well. That weeded smoke coming into cover Thwifo just as he finds the kill into Food to keep him alive. Yeah, Thwifo still goes down over towards Lamps, but the fact that he gets the kill into Food isn't tradable until a little bit while later.
Right.
Is so well done for XSET as they now head into the anti-eco. So a great pistol to open things up with. Let's see if they can maybe find a lot of value again. It's going to be Stingers, SMGs, Spectres. You know the drill. BCJ actually has a Vandal. Sorry, a Phantom. So that's going to be quite useful for the next round as well.
Well, they'll read the Sheriff. So far, the SMG purchases have been concealed. Recon Bolt flushing one side, Paint Shells the other. They're really trying to isolate Mummy here. Caboose is not giving away his position. Now as he's forced to, he will find one kill. But the hit for XSET has largely gotten onto the site. They want to try to isolate this final pick onto Caboose, and we did is also push forward far enough to find Crashies, leaving XSET in a 3v2. Maybe trying to contest this early, though, is Food on the Sage. Trying to come on in. We'll find elimination, and cleanly at that. So an opportunity starting to brew, but the secondary challenge runs right into 2 players, and now it's just down to Finesse for 1v2, and he's on the wrong side of the map. Well, or maybe not.
He's on the right side of the map now. 1 versus 2, Stinger and hand, full ammo as well. See somebody through the camera so they know. He rather knows exactly what this push is going to come from. Spike on the ground there. That's the Phantom on the floor as well. This 1v1 could mean everything. Cypher versus Cypher. 14 bullets in the chamber here. And on the other end is going to be Thwyfo. I don't know how much. 20 seconds, by the way.
Yeah, he's lived up to his name, though. He finesses through the cyber cage and then streaks across, changing his angle once more. The timing of the peak is good. Finesse clutches things up for the 1v2, keeping Envy off their force by tied up 1 apiece.
That is incredible. Finesse nearly had to rotate all over towards A, and it ends up being XSET kind of, I don't know, gut checking over towards B. They're saying we're going to TP over. Finesse is already on his way to A. We can go for a 2 for 0 here, get a free plant. Little do they know, lying in wait, Finesse was just hiding away in Cubby in the perfect position where he was at the start of the map. And BCJ, the one play with the real gun there, going down super fast, dropping the spike on the ground. That could not have gone more poorly for XSET in the 2v1. So Finesse buying time, buying the situation, now getting a free gun. Envy win that force spike. Should be a free orb here as well, coming for Food as he walks away.
Wow. And maybe those are the risky plays, risky calls that Envy need to be making, you know, when they find themselves in disadvantageous positions, because, again, their defense, largely their best part. Pure, able to walk right on in through the dark cover into Caboose's line of sight, gets the kill, BCJ another. We're gonna get Crashies though. How much can he find off this Hunter's Fury? He finds 1 confirmed kill, plus a bit of damage, I believe. So it gives Envy a chance here for this 2v4, but XSET also have a Hunter's Fury of their own. Finesse will read information, there's a player in shower, but that's mutual. And as the spike will be planted, now it just comes down to, again, what can Finesse do from this angle? Almost an opportunity for a first, has to back down, knowing there's a threat through showers. He's gonna get help as Crashies has made his way forward. The recon bolt is actually right stuck onto Aaron. Shock dart, well placed, but can't confirm the kill, and BCJ walks back. Now it's just down to Finesse. Running and gunning is gonna be Thwyfo. Gets some damage, but can't confirm the kill. Hunter's Fury gonna come through, and that will be a nail in the coffin. XSET right back up by 1, 2-1.
7 HP, Phantom back in hand. I'll take that weapon back. Thank you very much. The counter force successful for XSET here. Bunch of Stingers and a Spectre coming into play, and ends up being super effective. XSET get themselves straight onto site. Late plant, mind you. They have the post plant there, 4 versus 2 with the Hunter's Fury. Gets the last kill required. And now, ball is back in Envy's court, and yeah, they're going to force back. They're just saying, you know what, yeah, we'll just keep going. We're going to keep going. No team wants to back out of this. Everyone's just buying down to 0 every single round. Finesse, who's had a lot of kills, gets himself a Vandal even. So no team is willing to save.
Wow. Maybe we'll just get these half SMG light AR rounds all the way through this first half. Finesse finds first blood in Aaron. Owl drones will pass by one another. Pure, he gets the timing on Finesse trying to get away. Food though response, crashes up top. Beautiful shots from him, able to find another elimination. Now in favor of Envy to a 4v2. Mummy making it now a 4v1, just down to BCJ, who has snuck through into elbow, but he will not be able to conceal his position for too long. You see the slow orbs are already in place. Slow peek coming out is actually good enough for Crashies, believe it or not. And Envy snap right back, 2-2 we go.
Yep, and let's see now if XSET force again. I'll have to have a look at their money because there's no loss bonuses. Because it's gone 1-1-1-1, every single team only gets the 1900 afterwards in terms of what your loss bonus is. And there's no plants either. And then finally, someone has to buckle, and that's going to be XSET biting the bullet here and saying, all right, we can't go for another forced by. I mean, they could go for it, but it would be too risky. Now they've given away more guns over to Envy. The fact that Envy go flawless, by the way, means they now have 3 rifles to back up their 2 SMGs. Playstorm has been popped by Puro, so that is going to be the one thing XSET have going for them this round.
And Pure, he's popped off with the Bloodstorm previously. You kind of expect him to at least find maybe 1, if not more, kills with this, giving XSET a realistic chance here, again, with the hurt economy to potentially do something special. But not loving what they see over towards B, they will start to fall back and reconsider, and it's Food who will be responsible to watch the exchange on the cross, but the timing of this peak is going to be everything. Pure, does he check this? He is moving quickly. You see Food is looking left, right, center, inside out, upside down, and he will be able to take down the blade holding Pure. Rifle looking for the response, will find the kill. That'll be an SMG picked up, but they lose a lot of their kill potential off the Bladestorm.
Oh, they do, though, have this theft or at least confirmed positioning, but you're right, not having the Bladestorm is going to suck. They have a Stinger instead, which is only a minor upgrade of the 3 rifles available to be picked up on the Envy side of things. Food wasn't carrying one of them. Trapwire triggered over towards Hookah as well. At this stage, you gotta know Envy need to make some rotations happen. They gotta go through the teleport in just a moment. Finesse is still kind of AFK for now. Crashy, so he's into play. He's got the spike on the floor and 2 kills. Yes, a gun will be dropped. Yes, probably the spike will be planted now. Unless Mummy can stop things. Mummy is in position. He can't quite see. No, he does!
Just on the interior was Weeded. Not able to stay alive to the wallbang. Tracking Dart has scouted out Aaron's position, and Finesse will make sure he confirms, and with that, he also makes sure he picks back up the Vandal. So, tug of war, back and forth. Pick your poison here. It's a 3-2, and now Ultimate's starting to become a consideration, not just for the Bladestorm, but obviously now as we have Hunter's Furies that are being earned for not just the first time, but also the second time. It really just comes down to who you feel will be able to find a way to take an advantage here, because we're going into a full gun round here, Avril.
Yeah, and I don't think, as far as I'm aware, XSET haven't actually planted. I mean, there's been no defusers there. I mean, they might have planted on one of their attacking rounds, but it's like, if you're looking at the situation, that last run as well, despite losing, no plant through, so no extra 1,500 for the team spread across everybody. I mean, XSET in terms of money, because they've been forcing for quite a few of these rounds as well. Economy is just back and forth, back and forth. Most of their players now down to 0. You have Aaron not on full armor. He's also 1 away from the showstopper for what it's worth. She's now coming through on the Hunter's Fury. Looking like a kill. Has at least got 1 tag, but won't be able to finalize that one. So no confirmation.
Yeah, super long range on the attempt. Just a bit out of range, it looks like. So XSET will take this time to kind of collect themselves. 3 players threatening Hookah, but there is a little bit of deterrence there in the way. Wait for that to expire and then try to clear. And Envy in a 3-2 split have also seen no information through C long. So as the Aldrun will scout out Crashy's position, he'll back away, make sure the shock dart will deny any space.
Finesse is here to help as well. Through the teleporter is going to be Mummy if things get a little bit more dire. At this point in time, you know, we spend the first minute just kind of scouting things through. Bit of a smoke being thrown over towards A to fake things out as well. You've heard nothing over towards A. There's been no sound being made. Envy at this stage in the game. Need to look for a little bit more info. The camera is going to be the first point of contact. We'll see the first person. And that is going to be, I believe, Pure. And after that, it should be the rotate. Envy are on their way.
Or are they? They're going to try to take the teleport, it looks like, for this hit. So it's only 10 seconds to play. XSET need to commit to getting the spike planted in. Crashes has done well to stay alive and throw out some deterrents, but it's Aaron for 3. Now the showstopper will come through immediately, and he will trade his life out, finding 4 kills in the round. Finesse for a 1v3 requirement, and he says not interested. He'll back away, save the rifle, and he's got plenty of credits to purchase for a teammate in case that is required going into our round number 6.
I mean, look at all the blue X's over towards Hookah. I mean, that's all Aaron right there. Connects the showstopper also. So everybody from Envy with the late rotate into the teleport, it was so late because as soon as the camera spots a player, it's like less than 30 seconds remaining. You see Piora coming on through into B long. Envy got to know at that stage it is 100% going to be B unless it's a very elaborate fake. And everyone kind of still waiting to see possibly could it be A. They wait to go through the teleporter. They get shut down. And XSET will finally even up the scoreboard 3-3 and make sure their guns are in hand. 3 players still alive. They can drop for their teammates if required here. It's going to be really important for XSET to bounce back in terms of economy because they need to string together a couple more rounds. Their loss bonuses have been repeatedly reset. Envy will now have Operator on board for Mummy as well, so looking towards where he's going to snipe down early to see if anyone from XSET walks into the line of sight.
Finesse still playing well, by the way. Again, just kind of crediting to what we mentioned largely as a thread between the first two maps that we watched between Luminosity and Envy. Sentinel players continue to be impressive, and Finesse has, again, just reestablished that is indeed a fact now, not really much of an opinion. But Mummy with the sniper rifle, he should have one peek available, but misses the shot just a bit off. So XSET will recognize the threat and then likely adapt accordingly to try to avoid it.
Yeah, so nowhere near showers now. Everyone's going over towards B. You have a nice setup in Envy's hookah position as well with the crossfire. It's over towards long, that's a bit of an issue. You see that the wall, the ice wall was used over towards A short, so they don't quite have the same utility to be used on B now. From the shadows being confirmed all the way onto the site itself, and now they know Finesse is in hookah.
He's put himself in a very awkward position, and XSET will just run through the cyber cage and just spam him down. Food, has he stayed concealed? Nope, not apparently. VCJ finds the second elimination. Crashies, we've really kind of credited him for having great utility. It would have to be incredible here once again, and he actually does confirm a lot of damage. Mummy, who tries to force the showstopper into the equation, only sees an output, really one number, so now it's just down to one. Crashies for a 1v3. And another consideration here as far as, do we really go for it? Well, that first kill might make the decision a bit easier, because he knows where the second is. Snaps for the third! Crashies for 4 in the round! And Envy will put themselves in a really great position here. Just gonna do a little bit of shopping to get the operator before the defuse comes out.
Oh my goodness, it feels like another round that gets rubbed away. Envy have managed to do it again. This is so similar, in some senses, very similar to what Finesse just did in the 1v2. Obviously, it's different because Finesse kind of got, you know, XSET just walking into them, but Crashes for the 1v3, and XSET kind of individually peek him one by one as well. He lands a tracking dart over onto Pure, sees the first kill onto Aaron, connects the shots, and one by one finds every single headshot. I would imagine that if you're the last player alive, but look at this situation. Gets the kill onto Pure, and BCJ tries to swing for the kill. If he lands a single shot onto Crashes on 30 HP, that would have been it. The other option would have been for BCJ just to hide, because I don't know that Crashes has full information on where BCJ is. He could have played for the time instead, but XSET really looking for that final kill onto 30 HP. Crashes just barely misses the shot. That's going to be a painful round to lose as we walk into Mummy's line of sight there, and Thwyfo down with the spike confirmed.
Yeah, Finesse is there also to assist. Neural Theft will be spent to just get a lay of the land, and it'll be information that XSET is stacked over towards the B-long well. It's just, the rounds like that are rounds that we were talking about largely in that first matchup versus LG, that one big clutch moment gives Envy a ton of room to work with. So will that be a deciding factor in this matchup? We'll have to keep a pin in that fact to see if that does come up as a maybe recollection point later.
So for what it's worth as well, XSET just once more struggling to string together rounds. They finally do win a round, and instantly they drop one back, which means, again, in terms of economy, getting their loss bonuses reset. BCJ's position being revealed should be simple for Crashies. It is. That's just going to be the final kill of the previous round now, being picked up by Crashies once again, who, I got to remind you all, I was saying straight at the top of the day when we were watching
left.
Envy in their opening matchup versus Luminosity, Crashies was going to be a guy to watch out for, and right now he's really starting to pop off. 2 plays alive for XSET. They got to start thinking about saving. 20 seconds remaining. Spike is nowhere near either of the sites. They've backed out over towards spawn. Just got to keep the guns alive.
Doesn't seem to be much of an approach here for Envy to make point of contact. They'll send one out to go hunt, maybe, as Caboose is making his way through shower. But, wow, a back-and-forth affair in this matchup, and we had 4 spies largely dictating what happened in the first 4 rounds. Then we've gone gun round for gun round pretty much ever since then in some form or another, mostly due to the fact that players have been able to save a few hero rifles at worst, which will be the case here once again for XSET. But a couple of rounds in a row for Envy, 4 out of the last 5, put them in a position to grow their lead to a 2-round differential.
Everyone knows this by now as well, but obviously if you do save these rifles over, you can't drop for teammates. You're going to have the hero rifles for your own self. The other 3 here, it's going to be Stingers with armor, BCJ with the Hunter's Fury as well. No one else really too close to the ultimate, so it's going to be, you know, basically 2 rifles and 1 ultimate to play with for this round. Mummy sniping over towards showers. Thwyfo potentially in the line of sight as well. If Thwyfo crosses in, this should be a pretty simple pickup.
Well, we've seen this same angle with the same components before. Mummy was a bit wide the last time that this same angle happened. Not again.
Not this time.
Yep. And the hit is immediately was trying to be hit simultaneously, so Pure actually finds himself in lamps. Caboose using a cyber cage to stay concealed. He'll find an elimination, and Envy will be in a 5v3 early. The spike carrier also dropping, as Mummy's allowed to exit away from showers. The slower will make sure of that, and XSET will have to force a rotation over to B. And this is one of those rounds that you still go for the 2v5, you feel like. Especially if you can find an entrant kill here on the Crashing. You'll hear the information. Finds the first kill. Saw the weapon of the second. Nice paranoia coming from his lap. That'll make the gunfight much easier, and Crashies will double down as Envy put themselves at a 6-3 tally.
Yeah, it's simply too easy there for Envy to just defend over towards B as well. The 1v2, Crashies laying in wait. No information from XSET as to where Crashies could be. Could be an elbow. Could be hiding in spawn. Could be inside the tube. Could actually be in long as well. You've got no idea. No recon as well either required. Crashies to pick up the double and dismantle there as XSET's attempt to push over on towards A. The good news for XSET is finally, or at least have some more loss bonus to work with, but this isn't going to be the round where they can actually use that money just yet. They're down to, you know, what is it, 4 pistols, 1 SMG, still holding onto that Hunter Spirit, which they can use if things go better for them.
So now it's going to be the conversation point, forced to be going over to XSET. How do you get back out of this, again, eco round that you're in the middle of at the moment? Got Crashies holding tight by the octagon. He's going to have maybe a little bit of help here, as Finesse is actually going to get information first. The peek will be there. Thwipo's good for 1. That could be a weapon. The slow orb will deny some space. Crashies tries to contest, but he falls. So now all of a sudden, XSET are double hitting through hookah and long at the same time, and they have found 4 clean, convincing kills. And now it's just down to Mummy, who really can't even make this a go. He's got to hold the operator.
And not only are they actually pushing through hookah, but they get the support through the hookah as well. Look at Weeder. He throws a flash in.
Yeah.
And the paranoia connects, so they get the extra kills. And even the flank coming through, who I believe was Caboose, who's given his gun over to Thwifo now. I mean, it's just a ton of weaponry handed into the hands of XSET. Thwifo, the opening shot onto Finesse as well, checking his corners, understanding that, hey, if there's someone here and they're alone, that's going to be a free gun. And if they weren't able to get the other kills, they could have just caged the entrance onto B long, got the gun for free anyway. At this stage in the game, Mummy with just an operator, there's 0 chance he goes for anything. And XSET have found themselves a very clean round. Not going to be a flawless, not going to be all 5 kills, but they get the thrifty win. They get all the free weapons. Most importantly, they bounce back 1 extra round to make sure the gap between them and Envy are only just the 2.
Wow. I mean, just when you think that Envy's about to start running away with the half, something like that happens. It happened with LG. It's happening here again with XSET. Even still, after what just happened, they are able to afford at least one more time, if not 2. I mean, Mummy is sitting on a bank account right now, 6,900, even after getting the operator. So Envy will be okay, but that's a huge momentum swinger as far as XSET's ability to try to get to 6-6.
It's early info coming on through. A couple players might have been spotted by the recon there. Mummy still sniping, obviously. It's Mummy versus Thwifo once more over towards the shower side of things. Showstopper collects Crashy, so that's going to be hookah opened up. Food's down as well. B looks pretty open to me. Big TP from Caboose. Still has a paranoia in hand. Might want to swing on that one. In fact, he gets an easy kill into A-Run. I don't even know how that one happened. And
he gets away with the Shrouded Step. He also sees the teleport location of his counterpart, but XSET, everything said and done, spend 2 ultimates to find themselves a 1 life advantage. 4v3. Mummy is by themselves at A, has to back away. He's only got an operator, so this is going to have to be something incredible from Mummy.
Spike planted.
Pending he even gets challenged. The dark covers will essentially keep him pinned inside of lamps. Help on the way. 1 from the backside of spawn, the other through showers. Waifu hears the jump, but isn't able to find the shots. Finesse good to keep it a 3v3. The retake still not here yet, and XSET has actually backed away through the middle of the map. So as far as how they're going to be able to confirm this, Finesse really needed to find information with the spy cam. He's going to find absolutely nothing. The reapproach coming through showers. Finesse now has located 1 player, but Pure holding close with Weedit. They go 1 for 1. Down to a 2v2.
1 enemy remaining.
Pure good for the first kill, takes the second challenge. Mummy has got the defuse to halfway. 1v1. Recon bolt comes through. BCJ's not close enough to challenge through the boxes. And Envy sneak away and defuse to go up 7-4.
Last round.
Yeah, XSET have no idea it went to half there. If they knew it went to half, there's no way BCJ actually doesn't swing there. He's assuming he's got time to work with, but he absolutely does not. Envy sneaked that one away. It was looking very XSET favored for a while. A very difficult swing, doesn't get the kill onto Mummy, and Envy now up to 7. This could be a 8-4 finish. That would be disastrous for XSET, where XSET had more than enough chances to string together more rounds. And I think that's been the biggest issue. After winning a round, XSET just cannot get the second one in a row. It's always just one round, then a loss, or one round and a couple of losses in a row. It does hurt their economy more and more. They won't have enough to buy up the last round anyway. 3 ultimates still to play through for both sides this time, as XSET looking over towards the A side of things, and both players on Envy defending very far away. Mummy sniping from heaven.
And they will get that information from the Aldra, and Mummy deletes it with the operator. Pure, is he still considering? Thinking about it, but not gonna come to fruition. Maybe now. Paranoia's gonna come through. Caboose trying to stall at any hits that are going to be there. Hunter's Fury also being exchanged early, right on top of the slow, or VCJ does get tagged by that, but sends out some utility of his own. Spam shots from Caboose are good, not only for one, but a second, but Pure, Blade Storm responds. 3v3 situation, Showstopper still available, and that's going to be triggered out. Jumping over the top, the updraft was timed beautifully. Pure does get tagged, but he's still alive, looking for a kill, but it will be exchanged. 2v2 situation, Weedon gets caught trying to go from the shadows, and as you called out, Finesse hits the flank, and he will find both the final kills. That'll lead us to an 8-4 half, and we'll send things to a break to recollect ourselves before we get to the second half. My goodness, Avril, we have seen some absolutely incredible moments, not just in our first matchup, but also here early in our first half of map number 1. Envy switching to the offense, Pure coming right out the gate with some aggression, the rest of his teammates there to follow, and XSET will end the exchange in a favorable 2-for-1.
No time wasted here for either team. Straight away over towards A short, and it will continue as well. Leading in a pretty good position. Wiz being found out by Mummy. Now down to a 3 versus 2. Pretty tagged up with 2 extra plays as well. And BCJ for 3 kills now. Really going to be speeding up the charge for the Hunter's Fury a little bit later on. Finesse has an opportunity. Has to still find 2 more kills. Could be looking good over towards BCJ, surviving on like 1 HP.
Oh, but I was going to say, it just comes down to he's got no idea where Thwifo is, and the timing of his peak is absolutely perfect, so XSET will win the pistol. And this is a team that defensively, I would say, has largely been categorized by their aggressive plays like that, where they're just going to come right out of the barriers and just hit you in the face. And Pure, when he's on like he is, even though he's just 6 and 10, I mean, he still have showcased a number of great moments. He will make sure that XSET is able to find first blood, and that was enough to get them the round.
So pistol going their way. Remember, in our opening half, there was a lot of forces coming on through. This time, it's not going to be a force at all. So Envy respecting what XSET are being able to put together on the defense, and XSET will finally have the opportunity to get to have a couple rounds in a row. The catch-up could be real, but they would have to get this anti-eco into another gun round pretty soon. Looking a little bit further forward in time. Crash is eating a bunch of damage from the paint shells.
It's actually more significant than I think we could state right here in FIFO. Okay. Just predicts perfectly, I guess. That's fine. XSET now in a 5v4 early. To remember that the healing orb has been spent, and that's really what I was largely coming at. It's a huge piece of utility off the table. Now the second hit comes out. Aaron will find both. Some assistance here from Pure. One more wide swing, run and gun, easy clap, no problem. 2 rounds in a row for XSET. Now just down to 6-8.
Finesse will tax away 1 death as well in terms of killing Aaron. So not quite a flawless. It's going to be 1 rebuy here for XSET. The guns are going to come through for Envy, and now the test begins. What kind of damage can they do in this particular round? Not really favoring XSET to win this round, but they would need to do some decent damage in terms of economy versus what Envy have in terms of their buys. And looking at round number 4 in this half, that's when XSET will be tested to be able to string together more rounds to really catch up. 2 rounds, the difference now between the 2 teams. Should be a 9-6 finish by the time we get to the end of this one. That is assuming Envy can clean up with their guns.
Big round here, though, for Envy. Not just because they take the weapon advantage, but they also have not had a chance to get the spike really planted in any of these rounds so far. So it's going to be down to, can they find success on this entry? We talked largely during their set versus Luminosity that their offense was where they largely found all of their success. At least through the open quals. Paint shells will bounce and clear out a lot of space through elbow. Crashies also gets a read off the L drone, knowing that not only is the Jet going to be playing from the back, but the site itself is wide open. So this will get Finesse a chance to plant the spike.
Spike planted.
Hold off Hooker as well. So they can't play their own post plant there, but they're also preventing XSET from using that for their own retank. With Aaron down, it's an early 5v4, so got plenty of people actually on the site itself, even playing aggressively. Look, waiting for XSET to maybe pop through on this lane, and they're going to be in a world of hurt in just a second here. Players all around, frenzy in hand for, you know, players like, who is it? Life over here. That's going to be quite painful.
Exchange favorable for Envy on this post plant. Last members for XSET trying to stay alive. Pierce done well to find one, but again, he's literally in the middle of that inside bomb container, and I just don't know how you choose which direction you look. It's hope that you get blessed by the Valorant gods when timing comes to play, and that's not going to unfold. So, Envy, as required, they get the spike down. They are able to hold a lot of their weapons, not forcing a ton of repurchases. So they're going to be okay coming into this next round, obviously, but on the other side, Pure will bring the operator to play.
Just the 2 rebuys coming through via Crashies and Caboose, who's actually not going to have full armor either, which could be a little bit painful, especially considering you got guys like Aaron still looking towards the Spectre. So that particular matchup could be pretty nasty. Operating for Pure, like you mentioned. Can't quite get the shot into Food, who will return the favor with a nice headshot through the wall. Aaron will at least recover the operator for now and has to play the operator for the rest of the round as well.
Massive pick in as Aaron comes out of hookah. Mummy punishes, but BCJ's there to meet him with a shock dart. So we'll be in a 3v4, but Envy has obviously taken the B site, and the defensive retake will try to be on the backside of a Hunter's Fury. It will connect onto one. A kill would be incredible, but no, it does actually deal a little bit more damage on the backside. But not able to make use of any eliminations as of yet. Again, the healing orb coming into play is so clutch. Shock dart trying to bounce in. Not going to find a terrible amount of damage, but the BCJ spam shots will confirm. Crashy still holding a corner, and XSET looking to retake this by likely going to have to hit through elbow here.
And there's going to be a wall there blocking them as well, so that information will be pretty clear soon. As soon as they go to elbow, and they can't even rush it. I mean, look at the disconnect on Paranoia. They throw the Paranoia in, but they can't use it straight away. And I mean, yeah, Food's going to go down. Crashes will be there to get the response in a 1 versus 2. We've seen Crashes win these before. The lineup is there, and the clutch is confirmed. And once again, Crashes with the 3 kills at the end will finish the round in favor for Envy's, and he does it again. Oh my goodness.
So clutch this game, man. 21, 10, and 4. And we still have some rounds to play. The fact that he's already gotten up above 20 kills is darn impressive, without question. So now all of a sudden, for XSET, you find yourself on an eco round. Envy with Caboose still on a bulldog right now. Not feeling comfortable in their own right, but again, they should be on 11, and 11-6 is great news for Envy fans, without a doubt.
And Caboose will be fine for now. Staying on that gun versus, you know, bunch of pistols and one stinger on Aaron should be enough. Crashies looking for the recon. You see that XSET have already gambled over towards A, which means it's going to be a clean sight. Yeah, it's going to be the camera spotting everything through, and that means XSET now are going to have to make the long rotation back. First up's going to be BCJ. In fact, they don't even trust. I think XSET might go for a TP. Yeah, here we go. Everyone's going to the TP.
Showstopper being put out. Mummy's not going to find much with it, and Weeded, who I believe teleported over, is they're going to find the free kill. So,
Careful.
okay, a little bit of danger here. You still have the Bladestorm in play as well. Nice information there for BCJ. He just spams and finds a headshot. Aaron will actually take use of the information. Showstopper trying to come out also defensively for the retake. Here is still moving forward. Going to run right into this dark cover, but he actually finds himself in front of a wall. Flash pack up top, updraft as well, and XSET cleanly retake. My goodness. So what we thought was going to be, and in my mind, I thought for sure would have been an 11th round for Envy, actually turns up being a 7th round for XSET cleanly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, you see XSET coming through for the TP, a massive missed ultimate coming through from Mummy. I mean, he pulls out the showstopper and he just parts the Red Sea there. XSET just completely part sides. You have Weeded who teleports into Hookah, so he gets a free kill to Mummy. They can't trade. He gets a free gun. Aaron runs in, blast packing away. Just a stinger. It ends up being enough, and they get all the kills. BCJ, by the way, with a kill through the smoke on the Crashies. So, you know, you talk about a situation where maybe Crashies can clutch again. Well, not if he goes down to BCJ's Ghost. No res either. Food couldn't find a body. All the bodies were scattered across the site, and Food has no access to anything. So if he wanted to go for a res, wasn't going to find one.
BCJ able to get up to the 20 kill threshold as well. A lot of ultimates on board here for Envy, but XSET are still also toting a Hunter's Fury coming into this round. And I'm just kind of curious to see at what point, you know, again, we've talked largely about XSET. They will collectively group up and hit aggressively. The first pistol was right down Main Street, and then you could argue that that last round also kind of showcased that by all players hitting the teleport aggressive, just looking for trades to pick up a weapon, and they cleanly get through hookahs. So will there be more of that in store? It's a 2-3 split up, though, this time for the defense. And the Aldrone will actually stall this hit coming out of hookah.
BCJ, by the way, holding onto the Hunter's Fury. Had the opportunity to maybe use a bit. Obviously, Envy don't have full equipment here. They got 3 rifles, 2 pistols, and res is available. Might not be used here because even if you res somebody, they only come back with a pistol or they come back with the same rifles. You don't actually increase the number of guns you have. Hunter's Fury did get put into there. Food heals himself back up, so it ends up being a pretty, I would say, low-value Hunter's Fury. BCJ gets killed to Caboose, and we're into the 5v4.
Yeah, Caboose was stuck in the right corner over by the hookah archway. Finesse trying to deny the re-entry. Not going to be all that successful with it as XSET goes 3 for 2. Just down to Mummy, 1v3. Finds the first, but Aaron ready to spam the corner.
Thanks.
We'll find the immediate trade, and then we'll do a little bit of juggling as far as who will defuse the spike. Wanted to make sure that Showstopper comes up sooner than the Neural Theft, which, to be fair, is only 1 tick away.
Let's look at money now, because this is where things get interesting. Yeah, 2,900 for Food and Mummy. They can just buy a gun and have no armor. That would be pretty unfortunate. It just seems like XSET are going to have another fairly simple round to navigate with Envy not really being able to purchase up. You can see they're really struggling to figure out what the buy is going to be, if anything at all. And the sad thing is they have ultimates. They would love to use these ultimates, but you want to spend ultimates in a round where you have a fairly good chance at winning. So, look, if Envy can maybe find a couple of picks somewhere, start to get a couple of guns, turn things around, then I think the ultimates will really come into effect. But stuff like the Resurrection in a round like this just doesn't even give you value because, again, you've risen to just bringing up another pistol.
Yep. Very solid point. So the spike will be left just outside the cave system. Pure will find one. This is an aggressive play for information, and Pure finds the second, no problem. So now the conversation of the Resurrection won't even come to fold here as it'll be a 3-for-1 exchange. Finesse gets caught by a trapwire for a second, giving Thwipe an opportunity for a free headshot, and now Mummy's by himself. 1v4, no reason not to go for it. And we'll confirm 1 headshot onto Aaron, but that won't be enough to get a kill. So it'll be now just a 1-round count in favor of Envy still, but XSET have done well in these last handful to take the last 3 straight.
And as Aaron goes shopping for the secondary, it is confirmed that he prefers the Ghost over the Sheriff. Just saying, as we into a situation where XSET have more than caught up now, 1 round away from evening things up versus Envy. This is going to be the important one for Envy to keep their lead going. Otherwise, I mean, they're going to be into another broken bye. They're really, realistically looking at a very poor money situation. But this is one where they've been banking up ultimates, and they've had a lot of these ultimates for a very long time. They need to start using these. This will be a big one to get the resin.
Early slower. Aldrin will also be there. Tags. Recon Bolt will come through as well. That's not going to see a terrible amount of information, though. So a lot of utility spent early. That will likely mean that Envy will likely wait for the next Recon Bolt before they fully hit, unless they decide to hit the triggers on a Blast Pack play or something of the nature.
No Hunter's Fury either, so Crashy's just holding on to that one for now. Maybe saving it for a post-plant. Here come the smokes. Here comes the hit. The wall comes down to elbow as well. No one from XSET was playing elbow anyway. Both the defenders hanging out over towards spawn, and the rest of XSET have arrived. Everyone coming from the same direction. No one TPing.
A bit strange to be sure to see that coming through. Wallbang shots. XSET's been actually really good on their wallbangs so far, but won't confirm much there. Caboose, Paranoid, just stalling the break to come in. 2 players over by elbow, 3 from the front. And XSET are just having a really tough time getting through this utility. And time is ticking, and there are still, again, it's this full 5v5 still. Paranoid's gonna come out. Now the hit comes through, but it's Food and Crash. He's holding down the triggers. They find a couple eliminations. And with that, it just comes down to one in Spear, and he's really got nowhere to go besides finding the operator and that tailwind to go away.
Yeah, he's got a couple of smokes left as well, so if they do try and chase down the operator, he should be able to maybe get a kill. There it is. Smoke himself away. At this point in time, oh, okay, Mummy's going to go for it. I remind you, by the way, Envy don't have a lot of money, so chasing down the operator and dying, I don't know if that's really recommended, because now look at the rebuys that have to come on through. This is kind of painful. Caboose doesn't have full armor anymore. I mean, they still have a number of ultimates to play through. Thankfully for Envy, they actually win that one cleanly enough. They don't have to use the ultimates because they got the site for free. They walk onto B, smoke out spawn, wall up elbow, and that's kind of it. I mean, all the rest of XSET are starting to come through from spawn. The 2 defenders that were there, who I believe were Thrive from BCJ, are too far away to even affect the fight. So it ends up being a very simple tank for Envy, and hoping for another one of those, but I don't think XSET will give it to them because look at the setup now for B. Crossfire into Hookah, and Puro with the operator over towards Long. He gives up the angle.
Yeah, so he wants to maybe conceal his position a little longer, knowing that there's a Hunter's Fury, but he has forced it to the tailwind, updraft. Nice little dodging going on right there. So he's able to pull out the Hunter's Fury. Big bit of resource down now for Envy. The operator still potentially getting a chance to be in play. Shock Dart will push him back, and it looks like that'll be enough information for Envy to sit there and say, we're good. Last pack cutting it through with the showstopper will go down right at the feet of Food. That'll be good for the elimination and allowing A-Red to get out of dodge. 5v4, Qualifier through the cyber cage, good for 1. Try to spam for another. Right push will be there. Neural Theft will also come through, but it's A-Red staying with him as they find another elimination. Qualifier will finally confirm, and now it's just down to Caboose. It would have to be essentially an ace in a 1v4. He does get the spike, so this is still doable. 35 seconds to go.
Well, I've seen Crashies do this before, but he would have to be given a really nice situation, like 3 back-to-back 1v1s, so be given one of those very quickly as Weeded comes into sights. Plant should come on through. He doesn't trust it. Caboose doesn't realize it's clean. He'll TP back through, and he's kind of bewildered XSET a little bit. He does have to consider, look, there might be someone hiding. Finesse is one in the same position before. The dark cover will help. He will confirm the plant now. And it comes down to how XSET can go for this retake. They have a recon available. Yeah, possibly Weeded still has a bit of util as well.
Yeah, he's tagged by the Shock Dart, though, on that plant, so he's down to 75 HP. Caboose jumping across. He only finds 1, needed to get a second. So XSET, I mean, I didn't want to bring it up too early, but in these close qualifiers, Avril, every time they've played blind, it's gone to overtime. We're at 11 to 10.
So there's a couple of things there, either consistent in, I don't know, keeping it close, or otherwise they're consistent either keeping it close or consistent in having it too close the other way. It's both good and bad at the same time, but now they've nearly evened it up, 10 to 11, 1 away from being on the same level as Envy, at least on this map, and it could be this round. In fact, it should be this round, as Envy are now back to another broken bye. Finesse will have the only gun available. Food technically could buy, but the opting to save here. Still no res so far. We're using some of these ultimates. Mummy's actually not that far away from Showstopper either.
Yeah. And those little things may be the difference makers in this set. Stack here for XSET. Down A main. Aldrin will move first. Slow Orb trying to hold it off, but really nothing there. And
wow, that's
goodness. A little bit of RNG there for Weed that turns into a first kill. That's going to actually force Envy to rotate back. A number of members are low. BCJ holding the corner. He's good for not just one, but a second. They know the teleporters come down inside. Aaron finds the kill. Just down to Finesse. Stuck in a cyber cage. Nowhere to go. Flawless round to tie things at 11 for XSET.
Super unlucky there for Food. And just by the way, for anyone saying RNG game, that can happen in Counter-Strike as well. Just saying, as we head into the last couple of rounds here. Look, killing people through smokes is not unique to this game. But that was a pretty nice shot onto Food, if not a very lucky one onto Food as well. That wasn't the round, though, for Envy. I'm not just saying that because they lost a round, but consider the fact that they weren't really investing there. It was one gun coming through from Finesse, a stinger onto Food. The rest of them had pistols. They were probably going to win that one, whether it was going to be flawless or with a little bit of damage done. Now XSET are going to have money to play with for the rest of the last two rounds here. As, I mean, this could very well go OT, but at the same time, if even one round gets taken by XSET here, XSET have probably got it because Envy would have to, they would have to force fight essentially for the last round.
Yeah, no matter what happens in this round, even if XSET get fully wiped, they've got an economy that will allow them to purchase going into what would be round 24. So, yeah, marginal advantage, but obviously a much more of a must-win here for Envy overall. They do get the spike planted early. Weeded's going to bait the teleporter by shrouding, stepping away. You can have a long player on the back for Aaron, and Crashies was considering watching it. He's going to give this up now, though. BCJ's Aldrin on the way forward. And you've got to go here if you're Aaron, because there are 4 players that are stacked up for XSET. Hunter's Fury will come out. They should have one player caught in a corner. But no, not going to connect. Now the Showstopper coming through. Pierre's only able to find one elimination with the Blade Storm. The Showstopper finding nothing, but Aaron on the flank able to come through. So now Envy is trapped on the site, forced to win gunfights up close and personal. Caboose for 2. Now it's just down to him. He would have to get a 1v4, but will not sustain or survive. There should be...
Time?
No, close. Not going to happen. He's done enough.
Incredible. Envy drop all their guns, but they win the round anyway. Well, this is actually going to make the last round of the half really close. Because what should have happened is if XSET win that round, they keep 2 alive, they have the guns to buy up, they have the money to buy, obviously. Envy would have to come through on a loss bonus and it wouldn't be enough. But now they win that round, get the 3k, they got the plant as well, by the way, and they will have 3 rifles in play, but you can tell because all 5 died, the rebuy still doesn't look good even though they win. So this could very likely now go to OT because the equipment value just doesn't seem enough for Envy.
That would be the XSET way on bind so far in these qualifiers. 14-12 and a 15-13. A loss and a W throughout the OT so far for XSET on bind. Weeded. I think he sees a pixel, and that's apparently enough. Gets the headshot onto Food. The dark cover, one-way smoke idea was enough for him to get a small advantage, but Caboose will still stick for a plant. No flank this time. XSET's retake going to have to come from the front, and Dwifo's actually found another elimination. So now it's down to a 5v3, and overtime is looking like a very strong likelihood. Although Finesse has gotten out, is going to play a clutch spot through mid. So XSET still need to clear. They do well to find one. Crashy staying alive. Finesse needs to just keep his position concealed until the last second. And now he is the last player, but the kills will not be there. And we will head to overtime. Of course we would. It's XSET on bind after all.
And Envy, unfortunately, they're not going to get the res off at the end of the day. Food, the first one dead. Held on to res, I think, for the entire half. I don't see a single... I can't remember when the last time I saw a res was. They didn't get a lot of gun rounds, so there were multiple rounds there where Envy was saving. I mean, you can just see it on the round summary here. Envy barely won rounds this half. And barely got a chance to really use their ultimates as well, because you ideally don't want to waste ultimates on rounds you're not going to win anyway. It just so happens Food ended up being the first death on round number 24. And they only get that one because of timing as well. So Envy kind of scraped through to get into this position, because otherwise XSET could have had a 13-11 instead. Envy got to the overtime themselves. due to the fact that there wasn't enough time to get the
Yeah.
defuse in the OT. Now, I think Envy are in a much better position because just getting to the OT was going to be hard enough for them. So now that we are in the OT, they don't need to worry about the money situation anymore.
I just think it's one of those things that coming off of the Luminosity set and here again versus XSET, Envy's offense has been struggling. Which I say with surprise because statistics would lean towards them having a much more favorable attacking half than they would defensively. At least so far through the open quals, that was the case. So a bit of struggle happening on the offense, and that's where I'm really looking for Envy. If they want to have a way to win this OT, they need to find a way to start getting these executes off and really largely just holding their post plant setups a little bit better.
I mean, there's a couple things here in terms of, you look at compositions. Also, Food is not on an actual duelist. When you see Food on something like a Phoenix, he is a lot higher percentage chance of actually popping off. I think the Sage is actually working in this composition in terms of Sage is good for both attack and defense. I mean, you can see what you can achieve here, locking out one of the lanes pretty quickly on the attack. You can also lock out elbow. Anything you want, get a free plant. So, I mean, you trade the possibility for a player to be on a duelist to pop off for the extra utility, and down to round 1 of this OT. Crashies has been tagged by the tracking dart, but it's actually Thwifer who gets the kill into Food.
That's going to open up the hookah play. Now all of these members for Envy are actually stuck long, and XSET are 100% aware of it. Thwifer just comes around, gets 3, hits the neural theft because why not if you've earned it? And the last player of Finesse gets caught in a dark cover. Wow. I mean, again, it's just the fact that they get the opening pick onto Food, and then from there, Envy's just stacked up inside the octagon. There's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pick on the guy because XSET's done that all game, but the guys are 9-20 at the moment. It's not great for one of your duelist players who, if this was him on Phoenix right now, he'd be right up there, but sadly, it's just a different look. It's just a very different look on this particular agent. As one away now for XSET to take the map away, take us to the next one, and for Envy to barely even scrape into OT to now be in a really rough situation. At least they're not going to be on attack this time. We talked about the attack for Envy being pretty rough. Now they get to... Well, sorry, now they get to attack. That was a defense. I got it the wrong way around. So maybe this is going to be rough for them because you did say, like, Envy's attack has been rough, and now they're going to have to do it again.
Crashes will clear out Hookah. Nothing there, but this is just a solo play for him. Envy is looking to come out of this A zone. The only player defensively here is going to be Thwifer. A lot of utility for him here, but one of the strap wires has been dealt with, and he's just going to give this up. Wait for help. Try to play his life for as long as possible. He's actually used both of his cyber cages as well, so he's in a pretty troubling position unless he can find the kill and to Finesse. The last shot gets through the wall bang for a kill. So now a 5v4. XSET's overtime track record has been good, but Crashy's response. 4v4 situation. Abram with paint shells able to trade back. Back and forth we go. Food paranoid, able to stay alive. Inferior orb will be dealt with. BCJ peeks wide, finds the kill. Now Caboose trying to finesse. Does get taken care of at XSET. They clean things up. They take both overtime rounds. And that will be them up after the bind, which was not their pick, I don't believe, was it? Or was it?
XSET pick bind.
Okay, it was. My bad.
Yeah, so Envy have split coming up, but still, my goodness, it's like a back-to-back defeat on bind. Today has not been great for Envy. 0-2 versus Luminosity. That one's probably more expected in the sense that, yeah, Luminosity is kind of a dangerous team right now. They've beaten Envy. They've beaten Sentinels. Versus XSET, like, I think this is the kind of matchup where Envy are definitely a little bit more favored. Look, XSET are on the up and up as well. They did beat TSM, but XSET are still a team where you have a few more questions. They've continually lost to Immortals, who do look like a very good team this tournament, mind you, in saying that. But XSET have, not passed as many tests as teams like Luminosity have. So the fact that they do have this kind of 1-0 to start out with now is going to be really good. It isn't overtime. Wasn't easy. Split's going to be next. Split is another map that XSET have defeated TSM on. And now you have a real opportunity for XSET to maybe look for a 2-0.
That would have to be exactly where they kind of recollect some of the matches that they had. They had a 13-7 win versus TSM on Bind. It was another overtime win for them on Split. Can they find a way to repeat the magic, or will Envy take one of their perennial map picks in their favor to send things to a map 3? We'll find out when we come back. Don't you go anywhere.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Oh, baby. Contrast stitching. Curves that'll hug your body. Adjustable arms. Custom embroidery. Memory foam pillows. Changeable color inserts. Lay flat, recline. Removable logos. Soft, durable material. Yeah. You like what you see, baby? Zip chair.
I feel like I need to defend my scene's honor here, because this is just turning into a bit of a dog battle.
Like in groups always look.
I'm cutting you off here. I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
We need to wait till the next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years now.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
but
that's
that
no
being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
Spike defused.